And it's my pleasure to welcome you to tonight's program on ECHO, a nonprofit organization that empowers adults with disabilities to be active members of the community and achieve their optimal level of personal, social, and economic success. This program is being hosted in collaboration with Fairfax County Library, and I'm going to pass the microphone to Will Osborne, their library's Adult Services Outreach Coordinator, who will introduce tonight's speaker. Will?
Thank you, Lorraine. I will introduce our speaker. Todd Goldian has been with ECHO for 2.5 years. In his role as development director, Todd is responsible for worksite development, fundraising, events, marketing, and community outreach. He has been a driving force in the development and growth of the 3 ECHO enterprises that you will learn about today. He has conceptualized and implemented 2 successful annual fundraising events and has been responsible for adding multiple work sites to ECHO's group-supported employment program. Todd's background as a chef and hospitality professional lend him a creative approach to the nonprofit world for which ECHO has benefited. Todd is with us today to talk about all things ECHO. He'll touch briefly on the history, what they are doing now, and their plans for the future. So, Todd, I'll let you take it from here. And I'd also like to let everyone know that before I do that though, I would like to let everyone know that we are recording this. So if you'd like to keep your cameras off, I would just like to let you know. Todd, I'll hand it over to you.
Well, thank you very much for that intro, Will. I appreciate that. And thank you for having me today. Before I start, I want to tell everybody if you have any questions at all, please just throw them up in the chat and we'll answer them as we go. But feel free to interrupt at any point. So as Will said, my name is Todd Goldian, and I've been with ECHO for about 2.5 years. We are a 49-year-old nonprofit, and we provide lifelong support to adults with disabilities. And the history behind ECHO is pretty interesting. Being 49 years old, there's a lot that goes with that. So we were established in 1975. And right around that time, there was some interesting legislation that sort of prompted our start. The Rehabilitation Act of 1973 made it illegal to discriminate against folks with disabilities. And when something like that happens, a group of parents like the ones that started ECHO, they kind of look at that and say, what can we do with this? And what they did with it was they started ECHO. And our core services and our mission haven't really changed in all of those years since 1975. But we certainly have adjusted with the times to be relevant and to make sure that we're meeting the needs of the folks that we support. Now, that picture that you see there, that's our very first executive director. That's Virginia Rumfelt handing over the very first paycheck to an ECHO participant in 1975. That's pretty meaningful because prior to this moment and the legislation that was passed in 1973, it was not a common thing for an adult with a disability to be an active member of the working class. So very proud of that picture and very proud that we have sort of continued on that path. Now, the other picture that you see there, that transportation photo with the umbrella and the wheelchair there, that's pretty special too. We have had transportation as part of our mission and part of our services since the very beginning. We bought our first bus in 1975 for $1. I don't know exactly how they managed to swing that, but that is what happened. And since then, we've been growing our fleet of vehicles and we've been replacing as needed and growing as the years have gone by. And because of that, now we're able to have the robust network of transportation in the fleet that we have now. So when fellow nonprofits ask, how in the world do you have this transportation network? I tell them, unfortunately, you're going to have to hit the rewind button and go back in time about 50 years for that to happen, because to start it from scratch today would be very, very difficult. So our 3 services that we provide can be summed up in general terms with these 3 here: day support, supported employment, and transportation. The day support, we are a state accredited Medicaid service provider. Typically, funding for individuals that attend this program either come from a Medicaid waiver. We do accept all three DD waivers. We do not, however, accept the CCC plus waiver, or county funding. It would be another avenue to pay for the services, or some individuals do self-pay. But as a Medicaid service provider, there are certain rules and regulations that we must follow, and I'll touch on that a little bit more as this presentation goes on. Supported employment is another large service that we provide, and within that category, there's multiple different flavors and varieties that we do offer. We have had employment programs in place again since the beginning, since 1975. They have changed in structure a good bit, and I'll tell you a little bit more about what that means in just a bit here. That transportation fleet that I mentioned today, that fleet is 31 vehicles, and we're traveling about 34,000 miles every month. That is door-to-door service, and we do go all the way across Loudoun County and all the way across Fairfax County. And what that looks like for individuals, whether it be from a group home or a familial home, the Echo vehicle will show up at the driveway, and that individual will either be taken to Echo for their day support program or to their place of employment, and back home again once the day is over. I will say on the very outskirts of Fairfax, there's one or two communal pickup points. The reason for that is we just don't want individuals to be on the bus all day, and it's a little bit far for us to go door to door all the way out that far. But for the most part, it is, I'd say, more than 95% door-to-door service here. So about us and who we are. Our mission is to empower individuals to achieve success, as Lorraine had said. We have about 180 participants that we serve, and about 65 of them are 65% are Loudoun residents, and 35% come from Fairfax. It's about 87% that require or utilize our transportation to take advantage of our programs. And the split is something like 130 of our participants are in employment, and about 50 of them are in day support. Those numbers, of course, fluctuate, but employment is generally always the larger number in that mix. Our day support program, it's a lot of fun. I will say that I enjoy this program because when you walk into this space, what you see in these photos here, that's what you get. You get variety, you get diversity, you get fun, you get education, but there's always something happen. There's a staff of qualified individuals that run this program. There's curriculum, there's choice involved. So if you don't want to go to Friends of Homeless Animals to walk the dogs and cuddle the kittens, you don't have to do that. But that is an option that our participants have. The name LIFE, that stands for Learning, Independence, Friendship, and Empowerment. That is the real gist of the program here. A person-centered program with a 7:1 ratio of participant to staff member. The reason for that ratio is that's a requirement from Medicaid. Us being a service provider, we're required to meet that ratio. I will say when we leave the building on a field trip, that ratio becomes 3:1. That makes staffing a challenge, but it's an important part of our mission to get out into the community. So that does happen once or twice every week. We do things like field trips to the Air and Space Museum. We'll go to the movies. We'll go to Great Country Farms, Friends of Homeless Animals, and a number of other locations as well. And the mix is always education and recreation. So fun and learning. Group and individual-led activities that focus on choice. Choice is a big part of everything that we do at Echo. We're not forcing people to work. We're not forcing people to go out in the community. That's not what empowerment looks like for us. And community integration and personal growth are goals of ours, but not without the consent of the individuals in the program. This is important. Our life program has the capacity to grow right now. We have room for new admissions. There is no waiting list. There's oftentimes confusion about this where somebody will think that they're on the waiting list for Echo, but in fact are on the waiting list for their Medicaid waiver or something like that. Feel free to reach out to us if there's any confusion about this. Use me as a resource. The contact information is at the end of this presentation here. But I can assure you that there is space to grow this program right now. It's a question I get all the time, so I want to make sure I'm clear on that one. In fact, in the upcoming years, we will have a satellite location for Echo in Leesburg. Because this program is in such high demand, we're going to add a second facility just for the day support program. So our employment partners, this is some of the people that we work with here. We've got a pretty wide variety of different partners that act as work sites for us. And our traditional approach, as you can see, was 100% reliant on our community. And the model that we employed for more than 40 years worked fantastic for us. And there was no need to ever change that. But as great as these partners are, there was a little something that happened that caused us to have to pivot pretty hard. And of course, that was COVID-19. Um, we struggled just like everybody else did, and we were closed for only 2 months. And frankly, that was a very short time to be closed because it was difficult for us to open back up safely and ensure that we were able to provide the services that we needed to and not endanger any of our participants. But what we realized after that 2 months was that all of our partners were still shut down. For the first time in almost 50 years, we had zero opportunities to offer, and it wasn't okay. Some of our folks didn't quite grasp why they couldn't go to work, and we were mad, and there was nothing that we could do about it. So our answer was to start 3 businesses of our own. Now, if you think about what the pandemic was like right in the heart of 2020, and then starting 3 businesses, that was not an easy thing to do. Um, it was certainly necessary, though. While we were starting these businesses, we were also reestablishing all of our community partnerships. That was necessary. We're not going to be able to sustain the robust employment program that we need to with just these 3 businesses, but they are helping us to strengthen and diversify our offerings to our participants. That's very important because choice is always going to be a big part of what we do. Not everybody wants to make dog biscuits. Not everybody wants to make candles. Not everybody wants to go mow the lawn at the FAA. So having a choice and having diversity built into these programs is very important to us. I should mention the FAA. That was our very first contract at Echo. We've been mowing their lawn since 1976. And during this time, the pandemic, we were deemed as essential personnel so that we can continue to mow the lawn at the FAA. That was our only source of income, and we were not going to lose that contract. So we're very, very glad that we did that. Now, these 3 businesses that we're looking at here, they have been very successful for us. The intent of these businesses is to make a profit, with 100% of that profit going back into the mission of Echo. So if at some point, and this hasn't happened yet, but if at some point we make and sell enough dog biscuits to make a profit, that will help pay for those 31 vehicles and the insurance and the staffing that's required. 100% of that revenue will go back into the mission. That's the truth for all 3 of these businesses here. So the Echo Barkery, that is a freestanding facility in Ashburn, Virginia. That couldn't be part of our headquarters in Leesburg. They require some specialized equipment with their dehydrators in the oven. We tried to make that work and it just wasn't the right fit. So they've got their own space in Ashburn on Ashburn Road. And currently, that bag that you see there on the screen, that's our bacon flavored biscuit. They're making about 14,000 of those bags every month. Whole Foods is that's our largest contract. We're in about 60 of their stores now, if I'm not mistaken. And that number is out of date there. We're in about 70 other retail facilities. So they are cranking out some dog biscuits. The progress in this program is astounding. You heard that my background was a chef. So when I started and I saw how we were cutting these dog biscuits out one by one with a cookie cutter, I knew pretty quickly that that wasn't going to work for us. We needed to be able to scale this operation up. Now there's a machine there that you drop that dough in the top and it just kind of rolls it out for you, and it just cuts those biscuits automatically. That gives us the ability to scale up and have contracts like Whole Foods that I mentioned. The folks that work in this program love their job. It was the right move. As hard as it was to start a business in the heart of the pandemic, the smiles on the faces in that business when you walk in the doors tell you that it was the right move. It's adding diversity to our program. It's adding great product lines that dogs absolutely love. All natural. There's only 5 ingredients in these things, and peanut butter is one of those ingredients. So dogs are surely going to enjoy these biscuits. It's been great for our brand recognition as well. We've partnered with local organizations like View of Heaven Farm. They donate the sweet potatoes to make that winter wonder sweet potato flavor. So it's been great for us to get out in the community and let folks know who we are and what we're up to. Blue Elegance. This is a pretty special place. So this started as a pastime. It started as a way for us to kill time while we were trying to figure out what the heck we were supposed to be doing in the pandemic. It was that team of ladies that you see there making plastic beaded jewelry with no pattern or design to it. It was just something fun that we were doing to kind of buy time until we knew what we were supposed to be up to. The progress since that point is astounding. We've opened a retail shop, and you can now walk in and see matching sets with crystals and natural stones, repeatable patterns. There's a beautiful website where all of these products are for sale. The candles are all natural and soy wax that's made from soy that's grown in America. Safety is part of the reason for that. And it's also a quality control issue too. Soy has a low melting point, so you can pour that wax all over yourself and it's warm, but it's not going to burn you. Soaps, that's another object or another product that we're making now. There's a lot of crossover between soap and candles, so it made sense for us to venture into that realm too. The sense of pride that this team has is really difficult to match, unparalleled. The reason for that is they're doing the work. I'm not making these candles. I'm not making these soaps. They are making these products. So from going from that plastic beaded jewelry to more of what you see here, they accomplish that and they feel that. So when you walk into our storefront, you're going to feel that sense of pride too. This is a fantastic program that is acting as a group-supported employment site, and it's adding to the diversity of our program, as I said. Now, us owning these 3 businesses, it's giving us the ability to let folks kind of try a few different things before they know what they really want to do. Not all of our work sites, you can't really do that at all of our work sites. And I don't mean this as a negative thing. Genelia Research Campus is one of our strongest partners, but you can't just send anybody over there. They need to know who's coming. They need to be on that list of employment employees. It's not easy to just swap folks in and out. Whereas our businesses, Blue Elegance and the Barkery and Inclusive Solutions, that gives us the ability to let folks try that out. Maybe they do want to make dog biscuits, or maybe they do want to make candles, but we won't know until we really try. So that's another advantage of us starting these businesses here. Inclusive Solutions. This was kind of an accident. So one of our work sites was a company called Ray Howe, and Rahal was fantastic. But during the pandemic, their entire model changed and they were no longer able to accommodate a work crew. They had work that they wanted us to do, but it needed to be done at Echo. And they asked if we could do that. So, of course, we said yes. And they were having us build sample cards. Now, Rahal does things like they sell polymers and plastics to large companies like Coca-Cola and GM and think places like that. So this sample card was a giant thing with 16 glue dots on it and 16 different materials that they were presenting to their customers. That's a very difficult thing to automate. So that's where we came in. We were applying those 16 glue dots and applying those different materials to that card and then presenting those cards back to Rahal, who used them for their customers. It was great work for us during a time of need, and we're very thankful for that. But we realized that that model, we could do that with other companies. So that's how this started. Today, we're folding boxes for technology companies. So somebody like CIS and EIT, they both make different IT equipment. They have a choice. They can have their engineers fold boxes. Those guys don't want to fold boxes, or they can outsource it to us. And I can assure you that a box folding party is a thing. It's only a thing at Echo, though. So it is a win-win scenario. They're getting pallets full of their boxes folded by us. Our participants are earning a paycheck, and it's a win-win scenario. This team is also doing mailers. They're doing gift boxes for corporations, and those gift boxes are being stuffed with products that we're making from Blue Elegance and from the Barkery. They're a fulfillment center for a t-shirt company named 888. We're doing all kinds of different work here, and the intent is to try and identify the bottleneck in other companies' production and have them outsource that work to us. Now, you've heard me talk about the diversity of our programs. This is a big one. And the example that I give, one of the individuals in this photo that you see here, he was part of the team that mowed the lawn at the FAA for more than 20 years. And that now he's got a bum knee. He can't walk behind the mower anymore. But he's a fantastic worker and he wants to work. This he can do, and he's grateful for the opportunity. So it's giving us options. It's giving us the ability to present that option to our participants and allow them to earn a paycheck doing something that they like. So this is a happy accident for us. Now, I will say that the three businesses that I have just talked about, those are three very clear ways. If you would like to support Echo, this is very easy ways to do this. The dog biscuits, like I said, dogs love them. So you can hop on the website, give them as gifts, donate them to local shelters. Blue Elegance, the website is a stunning place to shop for Mother's Day just passed, but maybe birthdays or Christmas or something like that. And the products are stunning. If you'd like to come in and see those products, please let me know. I'd be happy to show you around. And Inclusive Solutions, this is the least developed business that we have thus far. And we're looking for more partners that work, finding that bottleneck in production for other companies. It's a worthwhile venture, but it's a challenge. So we are looking for more partners for Inclusive Solutions and for work sites in general. When I had that slide, I'm going to go back here. When I had this slide up, these are all fantastic partners of ours. We are looking for more businesses to provide a work site. And the way that this works, for each of these companies here, that's a group supported employment site. So the bus or the vehicle would show up at an individual's home. They would get taken to Echo, and then that team that's going to Stryker or Simply Be or Solace or Department of Transportation, the vehicle will then take that team to the work site, get the job done, and that vehicle will come back to Echo. And then once the day is over, everybody goes back home. Now, our employment programs only work with partners like the ones that you see here. That is the biggest thing that Echo is in need of at this moment. We have the staff ready to go that want to support. We have the individuals that want to do the work. We don't have the work sites. So when I said that we have the capacity to grow and take on more participants in our life program and day support, that was very true. The same would be true in our supported employment programs if we had additional work sites. So if there are any businesses that you're associated with that might be a good fit, please don't hesitate to reach out. I would definitely like to speak with you about that. Fast forward here. Now, our transportation department, you've heard me talk about this already, but it's easy to gloss over. It's easy to forget how important this is. Now, I've already said how difficult it would be to start this program from scratch right now. To give you guys an idea, pre-pandemic, a quote for one of our vehicles, not one of the big ones, just one of the regular size vans that has that wheelchair ramp and that lift on it. Pre-pandemic, the quote was $70,000. Post-pandemic, the quote is now $130,000. So almost double. Times that by 31 and calculate in all the driver salaries and insurance and all of that. And now you can quickly see why people don't start a transportation network that's that robust in this day and age. On top of just the pure expense of it, having the know-how and knowing the logistics behind it, having the ability to execute this, it's not easy. That gentleman that you see in that picture, that's Kinte. He's our director of transportation, and he is very good at his job. I don't know if there's anybody in the school system listening to this, but don't you dare try and poach him. He's too good. He's ours. But having the ability to do all of the routes and get all of those individuals where they need to go every single day, it's an impressive feat. Having that knowledge, that's one of the challenges that any other organization would have if they tried to start a transportation network like you see at Echo. The benefit here that it's kind of digging a little bit deeper. Now, the folks that started Echo, they realized that transportation was one of the biggest barriers for their loved ones to either get a job or be a part of the community. It's a challenge. So you've got to work or you've got other family members to attend to. In some cases, you have a choice to either be a full-time caregiver and chauffeur or have that Echo vehicle show up, take your loved one to their job or their day support program, and now you, as the parent or the guardian, have the ability to join the workforce. That is an extremely valuable service that we're proud to offer to this community, and very grateful that somehow they purchased that first bus for $1. However they did that, it was a miracle. But having that experienced transportation department allows our day support program to be a fulfilling experience. I can't emphasize that enough. The difference between being dropped off at a facility and just staying there all day, doing the same thing every day, versus having diversity, having fun, having trips out into the community built into your program, those are worlds apart. And I'm grateful that Echo is able to have such strong community partners in that list of places that we're able to go that make that a fulfilling program. Now, this picture down in the bottom left here, that was Echo's big day out last year. That was one of the events that we planned that Will mentioned when he introduced me. This was at the National Conference Center last year, and the idea was to create the most fun day that our participants have ever had. And they were welcomed by stormtroopers and superheroes. We had a magician, we had a squirt gun fight, we had an indoor snowball fight. We were able to throw whipped cream pies at our CEO's face. It was a spectacular dance party. Doing things like that make Echo's days fulfilling for the people that we support. And that's going to be our goal now and into the future as well. In a nutshell, that's Echo. I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has. This information that you see here, please feel free to use it. I am at your disposal and a resource. I know that the world of human services can be a challenge to navigate. If you are struggling with the Medicaid waiver process and how any of that works, please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to try and connect you to the right people, and it's been a pleasure to present to you today.